And so that's why I kept that copy of that traffic act in my glove compartment.
Yeah. And
don't bribe.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Please try not to bribe. And the reason for that is that it's not going to help. And you just don't be intimidated. Know your rights. Have a copy of your, but make sure you've got your driving license on you at all times. If you don't have your driving license on you, you're absolutely stuffed. Although when I used to do the military fitness, I didn't want to leave my driving license in the car, and I did get pulled over once, and I was like, look, I'm doing fitness. I don't want to leave it in the car, and I'm going to Zoo Lake, and they were fine. So, but I wouldn't advise it. And also have your, what's the document that you need as a foreign?
The traffic register number?
Yeah, traffic register number. I'd just take a photocopy of that and get it certified and keep it in your glove.
Keep all that in your glove compartment. The more documents you can pull out at a traffic cop, the more intimidated he is going to be, and the less it's going to harass you. All you have to do is signal that you are confident about your rights and that you have time. If you're in a rush, they're going to sense that you're in a rush. But if you just are willing to sit there and wait for them to make a decision, they'll usually tell you, we need to take you to the station. And they never do that because, you know, that would mean having to give up that spot where they're actually fishing for bribes. So you just have to know your rights, be confident, and be patient, and you don't have to pay a bribe. So you're going to save money, and you're going to help, I guess, the cause of hopefully getting rid of people trying to bribe if everybody just wouldn't do it. That's just my personal or ideal.
Cool. Any other questions on cars and staying safe on the roads in South Africa? Roadblocks might be for those of you just arriving. Often there's roadblocks, and all this is literally the police put out cones in the middle of the road and make you all go through it. So you will probably be late for 2 or 3 meetings or appointments because you're stuck in a flipping roadblock. Just be nice to the police, smile, have the stuff, and you'll be on your way. Often they are checking if you've paid your fines or not. So if you haven't paid your fines, then that's where you're going to have to pay them. You will get pulled over at a roadblock. Otherwise, you're fine. I've always had really positive experiences with the police, apart from when I was in the wrong driving back from Cape Town, but that was generally my fault. So I had to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Out and about. This is another question I get all the time, particularly over on Insta stories. Because I walk our kids to school across a park, and people are like, what? You go in a park? I run around Parkhurst, and I would say there's certain areas where you can walk and you can run. I would say you can walk and run around Rosebank, around Saxon World, around Parkview, Parkhurst, Parktown North, Greenside, Emmarentia, Delta Park, all of that area, Crakehall Park, you're fine. And it's really nice if you've got kids, especially that are still in a buggy, you can go to Parkhurst, have a coffee, walk down to the park, or just go for a stroll around Parkhurst. There's lots of other people that do. People are friendly, engage with them, meet with them, talk to them.
The Botanical Gardens would be another place, right?
Yeah, and the Botanical Gardens, definitely. Again, be sensible. So leave your Rolex watch at home. Don't wear I wouldn't advise you to wear your engagement ring. I would just leave that at home. I'd leave any diamonds at home. But just not make yourself a target. It's pretty complex. There's syndicates that operate out of the airport that will catch you as soon as you almost identify you as soon as you get off the plane, particularly when coming through getting your luggage. And that happens at shopping centres too. So yeah, just be aware at a shopping centre of, again, if you don't wear a Rolex watch, I think you'll be fine. But it is those sort of giveaway signs. If you look like you've got lots of money and drive. Oh, we should have said there on the cars, sorry, as well. On the cars, just when you're coming to choose a car, we have put together a whole bundle on purchasing a car, and in there is the most hijacked cars. So don't buy or rent a Polo. They get stolen all the time. I don't think one Polo has ever survived a night on the road in Parkhurst. Also, just to be aware, Toyotas, the parts get stolen for the taxis. So they often get stolen too. So again, if you are park in an area where other people are parking, and then you tip the car guard 5 Rand, 10 Rand, depends how generous you want to be. But yeah, then they can look after your car. And again, don't be scared of them. They are just trying to do what they can do to create a job.
It's actually interesting on cars. I didn't know that list existed, Hannah, but I drove an Audi Q7, which is one of the most biggest, baddest luxury cars that you can get, that looks really expensive and, is expensive. And I always felt like maybe that was a mistake and it stuck out like a sore thumb. But hearing you and what you say about this list of Toyota parts and everything, I almost feel like that was a pretty safe car, because, parts for Audis are exorbitantly expensive. So no one would actually, there probably wouldn't be a market for that as much as for Toyota parts, and no one would use them. So in hindsight, I think it was actually a very safe car, but it did stand out and it made me feel uncomfortable. But so if you think you don't want to buy a luxury car because it might stand out, I don't think that's actually the right train of thought. There's actually a lot more luxury cars in South Africa than you would think. Also, they are protected with that smash and grab film, right? I mean,
yeah, you can get that on cars. You can get the smash and grab, so that just means that the windows won't shatter.
But most luxury cars are already outfitted with that, and they have a tracking system as well. So if they get stolen, then they can be found again within South Africa, or even outside of the borders. So I wouldn't shy away from buying a luxury car, but just because, it's not the same as a diamond ring. You can be seen in a luxury car and you're not necessarily endangered.
I wouldn't drive a Ferrari or a Porsche.
I probably wouldn't. My husband has always his whole life driven a convertible, and was sorely disappointed that his office wouldn't pay for a convertible in South Africa. And that's the only 3 years of his life that he's ever driven something that wasn't a convertible. So I probably would not, because how easy would it be to not have to smash and grab and just grab as a person who wants to grab the purse out of the car. So, but you still see them, you still see convertibles. So.
I was going to say, but they are still there, right? People do still drive convertibles. So,
yeah. And maybe it saves you the smashing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back to out and about.
On the cars, was there?
Oh, was there something else on the cars?
Okay, I'm sure I thought of something. It will come back to me. So out and about. You can visit the parks, but visit the parks during peak time. So in the mornings and any time after 4 till kind of 6 in the evenings is when everyone walks their dogs and goes on their bikes. And then weekends, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, all the parks are really busy. So you'll be safe there. Again, just make sure you are aware of your surroundings and you aren't dripping in wealth. and then so shopping centers, the airport, just be aware coming out when you're leaving them, and also when you're driving home, just be aware of who's behind you. And if you ever think that you are being followed, just drive around the block again, drive a different way. Or then call your security service if you're living in a freestanding house, and they can come and meet and greet you. Also, that was what I was going to say on the roads. The whole, in South Africa, no one stops at a red traffic light. I have always stopped at red traffic lights, and so has everyone that I know, even at night. But when driving at night, if I thought I was being followed, I might kind of turn left at a traffic light rather than stop.
Honestly, to be honest, we've just taken that as an excuse. The one time that we were kind of like in Sun City, it was a long drive and it was an unknown area and there were plenty of red traffic lights, and we just kind of thought it would be fun not to have to stop because there was no other cars and we would just slow down and go through. It wasn't really necessary, but we figured we're not going to get into trouble either by doing it. So, but I agree with Hannah, you don't really do it. I guess if it's really late at night and you're on William Nicol Drive coming back, going up to Danefern, you could probably just slow down and not stop. But I would think it's more dangerous to risk, somebody hitting you than to just obey the rules. And we've never had a problem with it. This is another out and about situation is street vendors. Again, street vendors are something that is much maligned. Before you move to South Africa, a lot of people will tell you don't ever roll down your windows. It's dangerous. That's where people would, get to you and steal your stuff and all that and mug you. And I really just want to give a shout out to street vendors that, first of all, I've never ever heard of anybody being attacked by a street vendor. Secondly, as this picture shows, they really are good for a lot of amusement, actually. Like they brighten your day often when you drive to work. And this guy was just performing. This was during the World Cup, so everybody was draped in flags. So he was just performing and collecting money for his funny antics. And I found that I was actually willing to give money to people like that just because they made me laugh. But they're also quite useful. I've bought a lot of stuff from street vendors over the years. I remember just having moved to South Africa and I could not for the life of me find plastic coat hangers for my closets. And our stuff hadn't arrived yet and I wanted coat hangers. I couldn't find which shop to buy them in. And I just basically happened to see them, a street vendor selling them, and they were cheap and everything. And so I rolled down my window and I took a deep breath, and I was really scared because I was told not to do it, and it was fine. And ever since then, I bought many things from street vendors, and some of it is cheap and counterfeit and probably made in China and also maybe stolen, but you don't have to be afraid of them.
Completely. And actually, they do the most amazing things.
They do. They can find stuff. You can even ask a street vendor that you see every day, and if you need something that you can't find in a store, and he'll probably come back tomorrow and have it for you. Yeah,
that's very true. We buy our fruit and veg from the guy at the end of the road. I just think you need to look at it from their point of view. There's no state benefits here, or very, very little. So these guys are just trying to survive, to get some food and to kind of get some sort of lodging for their family.
Exactly. And often these are hard fought businesses. Like, to have that spot in a particular spot, you kind of have to defend that. And some people even have to pay, I think. I don't know what kind of methods are being used, but they would never want to jeopardize their certain spot that they have by doing anything illegal or attacking anybody. That would totally destroy their business model. So they're very safe to deal with.
And this one, Sina?
Yeah, well, I was just going to mention out and about on foot. Again, that's something you're probably told is not to actually walk anywhere on foot because it might be dangerous. And again, I'd like to, encourage you to go out and actually do walk on foot if you're not comfortable doing it, on your own. And there certainly are areas where I also wouldn't, suggest you should do it. But you can join walking tours. I know Hannah actually offers some as well. And it's great fun, to explore Joburg. This was a graffiti tour that we did, and they're still being offered by past experiences, but you guys may do one too. Graffiti is great in Johannesburg, and I'm not even a fan of graffiti, but I greatly enjoyed this tour, just looking at all the great artwork. And they changed, because the graffiti changes, they change by nature, and it's just really fascinating. But there's plenty of other tours that you can do in Johannesburg. There's also the Red Bus. And so I would say get out and do walking, because it's a fascinating city, and you can definitely be safe. Soweto, it sounds like, again, when you read history, you think that's a dangerous place. There are so many tours in Soweto that you can also that's definitely a place you can go yourself and walk around and just experience on foot.
Every Heritage Day, which is in September, I do a street food tour of Soweto. And we walk around, and I never feel safer. I feel safer there than I do here. So it's an amazing place to go and explore. But I would say that if you're going on an organized tour, then it's fine to take your big camera. If you're just walking around, I would leave your camera at home.
Yeah.
And I would also not walk around on your phone. So don't speak on your phone in the car. Don't speak on the phone whilst walking around, because firstly, you need to be aware of your surroundings, and crime is opportunistic, like it is most places. So if they see that you're not really concentrating, they're going to take, and also again, that iPhone is worth a lot of money. So, so leave your cameras at home unless you're on an organized tour. And if you are on your phone, make sure you're inside a safe building. Don't leave your phones on tables in restaurants. They could get swiped. But I mean, these things happen everywhere, all over the world. So it's a bit of common sense and just not making yourself a target.
Absolutely. And in the car, I always made a point of tucking my purse under my knees. And same with the phone, so it wasn't visible. I do have, I think the only instance where I ever came in touch, by proxy with any kind of crime was a friend's husband who, I think he actually was driving a convertible, if I come to think of it, but he had his phone, he was talking on the phone at an intersection, and it was stolen right out of his hands. But that's why Hannah is saying, you may not want to do that. You may not, you also, when you come back from a restaurant at night and you're in the parking garage, oftentimes the first thing we do is we check our messages in the car and look at our phone and do that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to get in your car and sit there and look at your phone. You want to get going and then just look at your phone at home.
Although now that's changed, because most of the time we use Uber. And
that's
again,
different. Yes, Uber is different. If you're driving yourself, you don't want to sit in your own car by yourself and look down and be hooked up.
On the Uber front, just make sure that before you get into the car, you ask for the Uber driver who they're picking up, because twice someone has stolen my Uber and once I got in a car that wasn't an Uber. It was just on my road. So those are all very innocent, but yeah, just remember to check before you get in an Uber car.
Check name of the driver. Is that what you're saying?
No, so the Uber driver has your name. So just make sure that when you say who are you here to pick up, they're saying Hannah.
Yeah. But yeah, Uber is very safe, right? And it's actually very cheap in Johannesburg. I was surprised when we were there 2 years ago, and
it's just ridiculous.
It's changed. It'll change your life. Especially parents of teenagers.
The only place I would say don't pick up an Uber is from the airport, and also just be careful from the How train up in Pretoria, because the taxis there are targeting Ubers. So I wouldn't use an Uber from the airport, and I wouldn't use an Uber up to Pretoria after the How train in Pretoria. Okay. Emergencies are shocking wherever in the world you are. But very sadly, at the end of last year, I was in an incident, and it didn't even occur to me how vulnerable we were, and that a lady was taken ill at the side of the road, and I didn't think of her jewelry or are we safe. So just make sure you have emergency details stored on your phone, and that you call a security company first up if you're ever in a car accident or someone's taken ill or in a vulnerable position. Kind of think of the crime first. And I would highly, highly recommend, not even recommend, take a photo of this, download it right now. It's such a great app. It knows where you are, and you can just literally press it and an ambulance will come, or whatever emergency service you need. And I'm pretty sure also you can report corruption through it as well. So the Namola app is brilliant. Download it, absolutely no excuse not to have it on your phone. So, and then these are the numbers from...
I threw this in there. This might be, some of these numbers are old and some of those are not, relevant to you. That's something that I posted on my refrigerator when we lived in South Africa, also for our housekeeper to have. And also because in South Africa, it's not just like 911, there are several numbers you can dial, like, because the ambulances are private, so you call Netcare directly. I think is it 211 for your phone, Hannah, that the emergency number from a cell phone is different again. So I think it's 211. So I would program that in my kids' phones and my phone, just so people have it, know which hospital they're going to call if they need anything. Like Hannah suggested, the security office at your estate, for us that was Dainfern Valley, it's just good to have that number on speed dial so you can call them in any kind of emergency. You had mentioned, Hannah, that if you were like in a situation like an accident, let's say, on the side of the road, you would call a security company?
Yeah. So you need
would Namola hook you up with one, or are they one? Or?
Namola, so do Namola first, and they will get you an ambulance or security company. But also then I would call I was with Cortac at the time, and I called Cortac to come. The good thing about the security companies is if you're in a freestanding house, I don't know about on the estates, we have panic buttons, so you can just press that button and the security company will come. They often have paramedics as well. So if your child is sick and a nanny's looking after them, whatever, I always tell our nanny to just hit that button before even phoning me if there's a real emergency, because they will be the closest to getting to us.
That's very good to know.
When I was in this incident, the ambulance took us an hour to get to us, an hour, and we were in Rosebank. So if you can, just stick them in a car and get to the hospital yourself. Don't rely on an ambulance. It's only if you're in an accident or you don't want to move the person. So it's sort of very doom and gloom, this webinar, isn't it, sadly? But what I would say is, and we've said it throughout, the one piece of advice I give to everyone is just be aware of your surroundings. Get used to being aware of your surroundings. And if you do that and don't make yourself a target, don't wear your Rolex watches, then Joburg is an absolutely incredible place to live and to enjoy and to embrace. And so instead of living from fear, you actually see the positivity. I tried to put in the video, I actually posted it on the Facebook event page, of the traffic cop dancing whilst directing traffic. And it's just such a great video of the sheer joy and community spirit that is here. It's just a bit of a shame that the press and the media always focus on all the crime statistics, and the security companies also don't help that. I actually don't read the emails the security companies send me. They send you crime stats every week. And I think, if I was in London, when we lived in London, and I knew every mobile phone that was stolen and person that was robbed and house that was burgled within my 5K radius, I wouldn't go out there either. So You can choose to focus on it and be scared, or you can choose to embrace South Africa and the humans that are behind each individual that you meet, that are just often trying to make a living for themselves. Sina, have you got anything?
No, I mean, you said it really well. I agree 100%. Again, the very first thing I think we were told by South African friends as we arrived is be sensible. And I think that just goes a really long way. You're sensible. A lot of Americans especially, and I'm one, so I can say that, are not very sensible. You know, people continue, and it's not just Americans, but people continue to be mauled by lions because it's not sensible to roll down your window or get out of your car when you drive through a game reserve with lions in it. You know, it's an incredible privilege that you're allowed to even do that. In the United States, you wouldn't, or you would sign like your life away before you did it with thousands of indemnity forms. So it's a privilege, but you also have some responsibility. And I think a lot of people from other countries that are more regulated, where you basically are told what you can and can't do, you forget that you still have a responsibility to be sensible. And so if, you know, even if there isn't a warning sign that's huge, or if you don't sign a form, you know, it's not sensible to roll down your window. And so that's the same thing about the situational awareness. It's just not sensible to be oblivious and sit somewhere on the side of the road just because you want to look at your iPhone, or, you know, drive late at night, or these kinds of things, or to leave your purse. Like, I'm not being sensible here in the US, but it's never been an issue. But when I go grocery shopping, I put my purse into my cart and I, you know, go and get my groceries. And sometimes I leave my cart somewhere because it's quicker to go get the item off the shelf and come back to my cart with the purse still in it. And in the US, you just do those kinds of things. You go to Starbucks, you put your iPad down, you go order your coffee, and when you come back, the iPad's still there. That's just because Americans don't actually steal that much, you know. It's just different in every country. And so in Europe, you wouldn't do a thing like that either. And in South Africa, you shouldn't. I mean, your iPad probably would be gone, or, you know, something, your purse would be gone in the supermarket. So if you're sensible and you just think about your surroundings, and like Hannah mentioned earlier, you know, are aware of the incredible divide between poor and wealthy people in South Africa, then you will realize that some of these things are just opportunities for people who have nothing to take advantage of it. For instance, another example, I just wrote a blog post about safety and security leading up to this webinar on Joburg Expat, so you can see it there. But one example that I always chuckle about is when I took my car in to be serviced at the car place. Inevitably, you know, if you didn't take everything out of your car that was loose, it would probably be gone by the time you got your car back. But that didn't mean you got bad service. You still got your car serviced. It was very clean afterwards, inside and out, but the people helped themselves to what they found. So if you had like a CD or, you know, any kind of attachment in it, and also the coins in your cup holder that you use to tip the car guards, those would be gone. Those would be gone. And in fact, you even have to sign, you know, you had to sign a sheet when you turned in your car at the service place that said, I've removed everything from my car. They wanted to make sure that you knew that. So those kinds of things, you just have to be aware that that's how it's going to be. And so, yeah, don't leave any loose coins laying around your house. If you have a domestic, I mean, just be sensible with that kind of thing, and you're not going to have any trouble.
Yeah.
Remember the question that Lena had about the beams being set off?
Questions. Lena, so basically, probably when you first move into a house, the beams are going to go off. And the best thing to do is to get up, to turn them off, and then to turn them on again straight away. And if they go off again, then get the security. The security people will call you, as they did, and then I would get them to come over. It is pretty scary in the middle of the night when that happens. But that's my best piece of advice. You've got to have those beams on. You just have to. And so, but if it goes off, just turn it off and then turn it back on again. And our our beams go off when we're out of the house all the time, but that's what you pay for. The security team come round and check. So you don't get charged for having them come and check your property. So they just need to get their asses over to the house and check that everything's okay. So keep your beams on, even when the hardy-dars set them off. And if it's really sensitive, then you can get someone to come and help you out and look at why it's constantly being set off. Yeah, I think
that was all the questions. Does anybody have any other questions that came up since then?
Just if you are, hi Yvonne, welcome. It was great that you could join us. Sorry, I think you may have missed most, but you can watch it back on repeat. But has anyone got any particular questions? I mean, this is probably the longest webinar we've done, which is a bit sad that it's all about security.
Actually, I think we're just about an hour, Hannah. We usually take about an hour, so we're right there.
Perfect. Well, we can stay on for a couple of minutes more if there are any other questions. But yeah, I just encourage you to seek out the opportunities and look at an individual rather than listening to the fear and the horror stories. And watch Trevor Noah's sketch and be thankful that we're not going to have any terrorists here or any school shootings or any crazy stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here, Lena, Uber, is it safer to let them in your garage or just get them outside your house? Oh, I just get it outside the house. It's fine. Yeah. I've never had a problem with an Uber from your house on the street. Absolutely fine. And I actually wait outside the house for that too. Yeah, I think generally, and I don't know, I'm not speaking from statistics here, just from my experiences, people get followed home, or your house, as Seema said about when you're traveling, when you go on vacation, that's when your house gets hit. So particularly if you're in Parkhurst, just make sure when you're packing your car, if you've got a trailer or a roof box, it's really hard to do that in your garage. Just something to be aware of. Friends of ours had their roof box at our house and they came and put it on at our house rather than doing it at their own house, because then it's really obvious that you're going away. Or get a house sitter.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Cool. Thank you, everyone, so much. Have a lovely rest of your week. We are going to the Country Club Family Fun Day on Sunday. So if you want to come along to that, come and say hi. Even if you don't have kids, it's such a beautiful venue to just come and sit and drink a glass of wine. But if not, hopefully I will get to know you and see you soon. Feel free to contact either of us with any questions.
Perfect.
Cool. Cheers, guys.
Thank you guys very much and good luck.
Yeah. Cool. Bye for now.